Narito ang mga pinakamainit na balita ngayong araw. Heto na ang pinakahuling kaganapan. House Speaker Martin Romualdez subukon na at inilagdag na sina First Lady Lizata Nas Marcos at Pangulong Kuting Jr. Ayon sa mga ulat, isiniwalat ni Romualdez ang mga umano'y katiwalian at kalokohan na nagaganap sa loob mismo ng Malacanang. Ang mga pahayag na ito ay nagdulot ng matinding alingasngas sa mundo ng politika at sa publiko. Ayon sa mga mapagkakatiwalaang sources, si House Speaker Martin Tambaluslos Romualdez ay nagbigay ng mga detalye ukol sa mga irregularidad at anomalya na kinakasangkutan ng ilang matataas na opisyal ng gobyerno. Kabilang dito ang umano'y pagkakasangkot ni First Lady Lizata Nas at ang ilang mga questionableng transaksyon. Ang pagsisiwalat na ito ay nagresulta ng kaguluhan sa Malacanang at nagdudulot ng iba't ibang reaksyon mula sa mga opisyal ng gobyerno at mamamayan. Patuloy nating susubaybayan ang mga susunod na hakbang ng mga nasasangkot sa isyong ito. Ano kaya ang magiging epekto ng mga revelasyon ni Romualdez sa administrasyon ni Pangulong Kuting Jr. at paano ito makakaapekto sa tiwala ng taong bayan sa ating bansa. Abangan ang mga kansabang balita para sa balitang aliadong informasyon at reaksyon mula sa iba't ibang sektor. At yan nga ang balitang aking pagkakatutukan. Patuloy na bagong lahat sa mga sulyap ng bagong balita sa tunay na boses para sa patuloy na pagtutok sa mga sulyap ng bagong balita sa tunay na boses ng masa.
Martin Romualdez kung ano ang priority bill o bills na gusto niyang maipasa pag open ng regular session ng Kongreso at Senado after yung July 2022 na SONA ng Pangulo. Okay. Ang klaro na gustong-gusto na maipasa ni Speaker of the House is yung charter change. Kasi, grabe, at the start of this year, December pa, last year pala, sinimulan na nila yung perma. Tapos, sinabayan ng ayuda. Tapos, yun na, isa pang dahilan bakit natanggal si Senate President Zubiri sa kanyang pwesto is dahil sa tsa-tsa. Ngayon, natanggal na, may bago ng Senate President, so expected na i-push through ng Speaker of the House yung kanyang priority, yung pet bill, yung charter change. Kaya lang ito, nakakapagtaka. Dahil in-interview siya kahapon sa isang gathering sa Quezon, parang nag-iba na ang tono. Parang surrender na ng winagayway na ang white flag. Yung ambisyon na charter change para maging prime minister, parang wala na. Hindi na priority ang tsa-tsa. Iba ng priority ng Speaker of the House. Okay? So, anong priority? Ito, sa Philippine Star na headlines, 6.2 trillion budget for 2025 to be House priority Speaker of the House. So, ayan, inamin niya na ang priority nila is budget muna. So, kung budget ang pinag-uusapan, both Chamber of Congress, by October, wala na yan. Busy na kasi by July, ang opening ng July 22, opening ng Congress. So, July, August, September, 2 buwan lang na mag-session sila para ipasa ang mga gusto nilang bill. Yung 2 months na yan, apeke na. Kasi after October, filing of candidacy, wala na yan. So, it seems to me na isineset aside ng Speaker of the House yung charter change. So, bakit kaya? Ito, sa interview niya ng media sa Quezon, tinanong siya kung ano yung napag-usapan nila ni Senate President Escudero, yung first meeting, official meeting nila. Ang sabi niya is yung amendment ng rice tarification law. Yun ang sentro ng kanilang usapan ni Senator Escudero, yung unang meeting nila. So, kung determinado pa ang Speaker of the House na maipasa ang kanyang pinakaasam-asam na charter change, dapat yun ang i-brought out niya. Kaya lang, nakakapagtaka dahil wala, hindi niya naging tahimik na ngayon ang mga kongresista pagdating sa Chacha. Ano sa tingin niyo? Wala na, hindi na nung una, ang ingay-ingay nila sa Chacha. Okay, so ito, naisip ko lang, baka nagising na sila sa katotohanan. Diba, tuloy-tuloy ang maisog rallies. So, ito, June 17, arangkada na sa Angeles, Pampanga. Pagkatapos na sinabutahin nila yung Bustos, Bulacan, hindi nagpatinag ang kampo ni Tatay Digong. Tuloy na sa Angeles, Pampanga, June 17. Then, dami pang pati iba't ibang bansa. Baka na-realize na nila na lalong mapapasama sila pag ituloy nila ang Chacha. Sana naman. Nagising na sila kasi yun man lang ang main purpose ng Maisog Rally, yung transparency, accountability, na huwag lapastangin ang konstitusyon. Yun ang sinisigaw ng mga Maisog Rallies. Huwag niyong baguhin ang konstitusyon nang dahil lang sa political ambition. Sabi ni PRRD, yung unang Maisog Rally sa Davao, na just stop the charter change and we'll be good again. Hindi na kami magre-reklamo, sabi niya. Basta huwag niyo lang ipilit na lapastangin ang konstitusyon, bastusin ang konstitusyon, gusto niyong baguhin para manatili kayo sa power, i-stop nyo yan and we'll be good. Sabi ni Tatay Digong. Baka nagising na sila. Natakot na ba? I don't know. O baka na-realize nila na sa Senado, wala na silang pag-asa. Kasi si Senator Escudero, kahit nung hindi pa siya naging Senate President, anti-Chacha na siya. Up to now, parang hindi natitinag si Senator Escudero. Parang siguro pinapakiramdaman nila si Senator Escudero kasi napaka-crucial ang suporta ng Senate President dito sa Chacha na papasa sa Senado. Noong panahon pa ni Senator Zubiri as Senate President, gusto niyang pagbigyan ng Malacanang, gusto niyang may pasa. Kaya lang, hindi niya pwedeng pilitin ang mga senador. Kanya-kanyang konsensya, kanya-kanyang diskarte. At nakikita ni Senator Zubiri na mahirapan. Enough ang numbers ng senador na buboto kontra Chacha. Kaya naging maingat siya. Di natanggal si Zubiri. Ngayon, Senate President na si Escudero, anti-Chacha pa rin siya. Nandyan pa si Zubiri, yung solid 7. Lalong dumami ang mga senador na kukontra sa Chacha. Ayan, Senator Zubiri, Villanueva, Ejercito, yung mga nasaktan, Villanueva, mga nasaktan yan eh. Kasi ang rason nga natanggal ang kanilang boss o si Senator Zubiri dahil sa Chacha eh. Bakit pa sila So wala na. So these are all realities sa politika na it all points out na is it as if dead na, patay na ang ambition ng isang tao na gustong maging prime minister at tinanggap na lang ang katotohanan na sige, kung hindi papasa, timing lang. So, itong Congress na ito, ano bang Congress ito? 19th Congress, patay na ang Chacha sa tingin ko. Kaya, yun na, hindi na Brino brought out ni Speaker Romualdez. Ipaubaya na lang siguro sa next Congress after 2025 midterm election, another Congress. So baka they will try their best again. Di ba? So palagay ko, isinet aside lang nila dahil reality is very clear na mahihirapan sila na maipasa ang Chacha sa Senado sa ngayon. So they will try their best. Kaya ang labanan ngayong 2025, they are hoping na marami silang mapapanalo ng senador. Okay? Kasi sa Kongreso, most likely, kanila pa rin yan. Kailang ang mga senador, dyan ang labanan. So, let's pray na sana maraming senador na manalo na may independent-minded senators, kagaya ni na re-electionist ba si Villar? Kasi Villar and Marcos, antay yan. Pimentel and Hontiveros. Think, tuloy pa rin sila, itong dalawa. So, labanan ngayon is 2025 para basta huwag tayong papayag, mga kaibigan, na maipasar nila yung Chacha kasi very clear ang kanilang layunin na baguhin ang political system. Kasi yung economic Chacha, ano lang nila yun? Patibong lang nila yun. Pag pumayag tayo ng economic Chacha, susunod na yung political charter change at yun na. Babaguhin na ang sistema, maging parliamentary system. At yun, magpa-prime minister ng isang tao dyan na walang kapag-asang manalo sa isang presidential election. So, they're just trying their best. Kaya sa grabing ayuda nila ngayon, ayuda. So, good luck sa pag-ayuda ninyo na sana manalo kayo by 2028 laban sa tahimik na kandidato.
Acknowledge the presence of Senator Amy Marcos. Do you want to? May we ask her to make an opening remark?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. And we fully support the need to amend the RTL. And if I may, there being so many resource persons, there have been various reports regarding the reduction of tariff to 15%, and this impinges on the efficacy also of the RTL amendments. Hence, I'd like to inquire if in fact it was already policy, or it was merely recommendatory, or as reported in other platforms, it is already an executive order. If it is an executive order, may we have a copy? Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all.
Thank you very much. We will now start with our hearing. I would request that those who will make presentation to be seated in front. And okay. Enacted in 2019 under Republic Act number 11203, the RTL lifted quantitative restrictions on rice and introduced tariff to protect local rice producers. The rice tariffication law ensures that farmers directly benefit from the liberalization of rice trading by providing at least 10 billion a year to the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund up to early 2025. Kasi noon nagmamahal ang bigas, so ni-request ako ng DOF na i-liberalize ko ang importation of rice with tariff. And I agreed to pass the law provided that the proceeds from the tariff on rice will be distributed to the rice farmers. And we made the study, PIDS made the study. that we are not competitive with Vietnam. They compared the cost of production of Vietnam and the cost of production of the Philippines with regards to palay. Ang cost production ng Vietnam is 6 pesos per kilo and the Philippines is 12 pesos per kilo. And the PIDS, they are here now, under the study, they said that yung 6 pesos, 350 noon is labor. Our labor cost is higher by 350 per kilo than Vietnam. And then yung 250 is the productivity. So what I did was when I wrote the rice tarification law, which created the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, they told me that they will collect 12 billion. So I gave the 10 billion to the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, giving 5 billion to PhilMec for mechanization so that we can reduce the labor cost of producing palay. And then I gave 3 billion to PhilRice so they can distribute and teach farmers how to produce the good certified inbred seeds para mailaki natin ang productivity per hectare. During that time, I think the production per hectare is 3.4 metric tons per hectare. And as of today, parang ang latest report, it's 4.6 metric tons per hectare. So we're trying to improve the production per metric tons per hectare, and we are trying to reduce the cost of labor of producing rice under PhilRice and PhilMec. So we're doing that, but the rice tarification law will expire and we have to renew it. It will expire by the end of 2024. So we have to renew it. And and in 2019, I passed, instead of being able only to collect 12 billion, by 2019, they collected around 18 billion or to 20 billion tariff. So I passed another law, which is RA 11598, and it's financial assistance to farmers owning 2 hectares and below, 5,000 a year. So yun yung composition ng rice tarification law, which created the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund and which provided for financial assistance to rice farmers owning 2 hectares and below. So we're due to to renew the bill because it will expire by the end of 2024. And at the same time, there are many suggestions on how to change the bill. So in the Senate, there are 4 bills filed on the topic. Senate Bill 642 by Senator Marcos, amending Republic Act number 8178 or the Agriculture Tarification Act of 1996, and proposing the expansion of the functions of the National Rice Buffer to cover both natural catastrophes and commodity crisis, among others. Senate Bill 1203 by Senator Padilla, expanding the purpose of the Rice Competitive Enhancement Fund from 10 billion to 15 billion annually and earmarking 10% to scholarship, health, and other similar benefits. Senate Bill 2601, which I filed, extending the RRCEP until 2031 or 7 years, including the financial assistance to rice farmers and allocating a portion of the fund for small water impounding projects and composting facilities for organic fertilizer. And Senate Bill 2672 by Senator Padilla, proposing the restoration of the price stabilization and supply regulation functions of the National Food Authority and the creation of the Rice Industry Development Program Management Office. And 2 resolutions, Senate Resolution 956 by Senator Risa Hontiveros for a consultative and comprehensive review of the implementation of the RTL and Senate Resolution 503 by Senator Lauren Legarda to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the implementation of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. With regards to the resolution of Senator Risa Hontiveros and Senator Lauren, we have conducted a review and we have moved for the approval of that consultation meeting with regards to the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund and the Rice Tarification Law. We are ready to proceed since we are adopting the proceedings of the Congressional Oversight Committee on Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization, or COCOFAM Senate panel, which was held on May 14, 2024. We failed to call on Land Bank and DBP on cash assistance to farmers under RA 11598, or the Filipino Farm and the Department of Agriculture on their proposed amendments to RTL on PIDS on the impact of RCEP to rice farmers and rice consumers since 2019 to 2024, PSA on the impact of rice costs on households since 2019 to 2024, on NEDA on the proposed reduction of rice tariff, what would it benefit the consumers, the rice farmers, and we will hear from the other agencies to give their comments, thoughts, and on the proposed amendments on the RTL and the extension of RCEP, the Department of Finance, and the DBM. We will also hear success stories from the farmers. We will hear from PhilRice, PhilMec, TESDA, ATI, PhilMec, and PhilRice on extension, and from the seed growers association who are providing the seeds to PhilRice to be distributed from the their production. So we'll start now. We will call on Land Bank and DBP on cash assistance to rice farmers on their report on cash assistance to rice farmers. Nandito ba yung Land Bank?
Yes, ma'am. Parang nandito ka rin.
Can we call now on Land Bank?
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I request for ABP Rosemary Atienza to be recognized to present the report.
Okay, we recognize Ms. Atienza.
Good afternoon. Yes. Yes. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. So, as of April 30, we have already distributed 347,179 cards for the farmers beneficiary. That's 95%. So we have only 5% remaining unclaimed. That's 16,830 due to unclaimed or no show during the distribution.
When I passed that law, they told me yung daw lahat ng farmers owning 2 hectares and below 1.6 million. Ikaw ang binigyan mo 300.
347,179.
So let's round it up to 350 no para madaling tandaan. Ang DBP ilan?
Ma'am, Madam Chair, for DBP, we have already distributed 1,649,285 cards po.
1.6 million?
Opo.
Bakit sumobra yata? Where did you get the list?
Ma'am, from DA, but I guess po that already also covers po what, I don't know if it covers what land bank.
Anyway, how much have you distributed?
As
You
of
distributed 1.6 million cards,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
you didn't distribute the money. What they're
Yes po.
saying is
we did po. Sorry, ma'am. For the
To-
money po, we have already distributed for the 2023 po, as of 2023, 8.3 billion, ma'am. If
to
I,
how many farmers?
if I may, ma'am, for 2021 RFFA, we have provided 1,065,705 cards and distributed the amount of 5.4 billion pesos. That's 98.76 realization rate. For RFFA 2022, we have distributed 1.664 million cards with an amount of 8.612 billion. That's 96.44% realization.
So
Now,
ang target is 1.6 billion times 5,000. How much is that?
target, ma'am, is for
Kasi
target.
nung i-research ko noon, sabi 1.6 billion.
Million.
1.6 million daw farmers will receive. Sila yung 2 hectares
Magandang balita ang hatid namin sa inyo ngayong araw. Sa pagtatapos ng aming balitaan, nagbigay kami ng mga mahalagang impormasyon. Maraming salamat sa pagtutok at pagsuporta sa aming programa. Huwag kalimutang manatili sa mga susunod na araw para sa mga bagong balita at mga kwento na dapat nating abangan. Mula sa Boses ng Masa, magandang araw, Pilipinas!